From the Weather NorCal Command Center, this is your afternoon update.
American Door Company has been family-owned and operated for over 29 years, supplying Northern California with quality garage doors, garage door openers, and installed with the best service you'd expect from a locally owned company. We serve all of Northern California from Willows all the way to the Oregon state line. Give us a call today.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm meteorologist Mike Kruger. Let's talk about our weather headlines. And yeah, the big question is, are we finally done with the triple digits this year? And the answer to that is most likely yes in the valley. And the reason I say that is because forecast highs today are expected to be in the mid to upper 90s. Now, some of the areas like Redding, as far south as Red Bluff, are expected to be in the upper 90s and, could be flirting with that triple digit mark and maybe just touch it briefly. But for the most part, I don't think we're going to see 100 degrees for the rest of the year for most of us in the valley here. Temperatures are dropping, but still above average. Highs will be closer to normal by the middle to latter part of next week and eventually maybe even dropping below normal. And the potential for some bigger changes by the end of next week. Cooler temperatures, maybe some rain, but nothing guaranteed at this point. There's your neighborhood forecast at a glance. And again, look at that. No triple digits in the valley. Temperatures, though, in the mid-90s Trinity County, mid-60s for the coast, mainly 80s for most of the higher elevations. So it's turning out to be just slightly cooler out there, but still definitely on the warm side. Do want to mention that there is some high fire weather risk as we take you into the eastern mountains, especially Modoc County and Lassen County. The areas in orange here is where we have some strong gusty winds on Friday, coupled with, the above normal temperatures and low humidity. That is going to really increase that fire danger. So let's talk about that. And let's take a look at the winds first and foremost. Now today, the winds are going to be a little bit stronger in the eastern side of the valley, also in the eastern mountains. Nothing terrible, but enough to really elevate that fire weather risk a little bit here. But Friday, it's a different story. Take a look at the winds. This is why I'm concerned here. This is where we have the best potential for fires to spread very rapidly should they start. So we need to be really careful through the day on Friday in the eastern mountains because those gusts are easily going to be over 30 miles per hour. And again, coupled with the warmer temperatures and, of course, the low humidity, we got to really be on the lookout for that. The good news is the wind should die down, though, as we go into Saturday. Just a little breezy in some spots here, but not as bad for Saturday. Let's take a look at the humidity levels. So no big surprises, single digits for the valley. And for today, we're going to be somewhere in the single digits and lower teens for the eastern mountains. As we go into Friday, humidity levels going up a little bit here, but still about 15%. That's low enough to keep that fire danger fairly high for your Friday. On Saturday, it looks like the humidity levels going up just a tad closer to 20% in the eastern mountains and just barely out of those single digits for the valley. So we're seeing a slight uptick in those humidity levels, but not enough for us to go, oh wow, we're out of the woods with the fire danger. No, that's not the case. I mean, again, take a look at this afternoon and evening. We've got those the high to very high fire weather risk that is here, especially on the east side of the valley. But you can see even in the eastern mountains here, we're in that moderate to high range and in that high range for central Siskiyou County as well. Again, we take a look at Friday, see what's happening here as we go into the noon hour. You see how that's really starting to pick up, especially getting some of those oranges into Nevada. But this is where we have the highest fire danger, even by noon on Friday and in the afternoon. When it looks like we're seeing the fire weather risk pick up a little bit here for parts of the valley for Friday afternoon. But again, the biggest concern on Friday will be Modoc County and into Lassen County as well with that high fire weather risk. There's the ridge of high pressure that's in place, but it's a flat ridge. We're not seeing this prominent arc in the clouds that would mean a strong ridge of high pressure. And the reason why it's a flat ridge is because we have these storm systems riding to the north, and it is keeping that ridge from building. But you see these clouds down here? That's significant to take note, because take a look at Futurecast. Now, as we go into this afternoon, we're still looking at sunny skies, but look at the clouds coming in tomorrow morning. 8 a.m., we've got the clouds moving in. Most likely, not much in the way of rain. If any showers should develop here, they're going to be few and far between. And since it's so dry out there, if the showers develop, most likely it'll evaporate before it reaches the ground. But there you can see the clouds coming in by noon. I think they could push as far north as places like Redding and Red Bluff, but I think most of the clouds will be down to the south. But I mean, look at the coast. We're still looking at sunny skies on Friday, and then maybe a little bit of fog developing early morning Saturday. But otherwise, clearing out very quickly for Saturday. Still sunny skies on Saturday for the coast. Looks like a few clouds still trying to come in on Saturday for parts of the south here, but overall, not that much. So again, this is the cloud cover that we're just beginning to see develop here. High pressure, the flow around that high is what's going to help to transport that moisture in. Now again, it's mainly just going to be in the form of some of those clouds that we will see tomorrow, but I do not anticipate much in the way of rain, if anything, right? So don't get too excited that this is going to bring us rain, but you know, it's certainly a welcome sight to see some of those clouds that will help to kind of hinder those temperatures a little bit as well. Then on Saturday, it looks like still some of those clouds trying to come in here even on Saturday, but mainly sunny skies on Saturday. So here's the big picture. What we've got here is the ridge of high pressure that's been the dominant feature the last few days. That's responsible for the heat and the triple-digit heat we've seen in many parts of the valley. The ridge over the eastern Pacific, that's weakening. It's entirely gone, but the high pressure of the desert Southwest, that'll still be in place. Now we got another storm system riding over the Pacific Northwest that will flatten out that ridge, that will push that heat down to our south and east, but it will still be well above normal for this time of the year, especially in the valley. Once that moves out, high pressure will kind of try to build back in as we go into your Saturday and Sunday. You see right here? A little bit of a ridge of high pressure. Temperature is increasing a little bit here, but not by much. We're not talking triple digits, but we are talking mid to even some upper 90s. Now, what's going to happen through next week? You see this area of low pressure? This is much cooler air. There is some rain associated with this as well. But you see how it's just slowly approaching Northern California as we go through next week. So by the end of next week, this cooler air, see how close it is to us. You see that warmer air off over the desert Southwest? That's being pushed even more to the east. So what happens? Our temperatures start to drop, and we'll see significantly cooler temperatures by the end of next week. And we're seeing some potential that sometime around next Friday into Saturday, October 12th, maybe as this pushes through, we could be talking about the potential for some rain as well. But another thing we got to watch here too is you see how tightly packed these white lines are? Those are called isobars. It's a pressure gradients. We could be looking at a pretty strong south wind coming in from the south-southwest as this approaches. So we'll see what happens with that. This is a developing storm system that is, you know, we're looking over 10 days out, right? We're looking a long ways out here. So a lot can happen between now and then. But this is a trend that we're beginning to see begin to take shape. We're starting to see more and more consistency in this overall trend here. And with that consistency, we certainly have more confidence that that may happen. So bottom line, much cooler by the end of next week. Chances for showers by the end of next week. Not too confident in that just yet. All right, so here's your forecast highs for today. Again, most likely below 100 degrees for everyone. But places like Redding, Cottonwood, Red Bluff, all right, maybe 99, maybe briefly touching 100 degrees, but most likely just upper 90s. Temperatures mainly in the 80s for the higher elevations, although in Trinity County and in the inland areas in the 90s there, mid 60s on average for the coast for today. So let's take a look at your 7-day outlook for the valley. You can see these temperatures are going to be dropping over the next few days. And there you can see it, mid to upper 90s. But you see how it drops, goes back up, then another dip, then another dip, and then it continues to drop. So by Wednesday of next week, I think many of us in the valley could be talking about temperatures in the 80s, but you can still see up until that point, still pretty warm and still into the 90s. The coast, inland, and for Trinity County. So the coast, mid 60s on Sunday, low 60s by Monday, Tuesday. And then eventually for the inland areas in Trinity County, we're seeing some bigger drops in our temperatures by the middle of next week. All right, let's take a look at Siskiyou County, Modoc County in the eastern mountains. Temperatures staying fairly warm, but mainly just in the 80s. A little bit warm for Susanville, about 90 today, but generally in the low to mid 80s here through early next week. And then looks like even some of us in the mountains by next Wednesday could drop down into the 70s. That is your afternoon update. I'll be back at 6 o'clock this evening with your latest forecast.
Wiggly mouth.
Woggy mouth.
No.
Painting.
Wiggy mouth.
It's Woogie Moth Painting.
It's Wogamoth painting, and yes, we'll paint anything.